What do we think of when we dare to think about death, especially our own? Is it quite simply the end of the line? Or perhaps a violent wrenching of the soul from the vague blackness of nothing into a turbulent, fire-tinged existence? Surely most of us hope that the discarded body will lie calmly in a peaceful resting place. Green smooth lawns in a tasteful setting. Our names and dates recorded for future generations to observe. And if we are blessed with loving family members and caring friends, an occasional visitor. Many gravestones, especially those in colonial cemeteries, suffer from gross neglect, weeds, blown branches, and the inevitable march of moss and blackened lichen. Eventually, the very names of the long-forgotten departed become illegible. Some states have statutes which prevented the removal of the graveyard itself until 1 century after the last burial. This allows even the grandchildren of the deceased to visit. Types of stone used for monuments. Granite is typically chosen for monuments and comes in a wide variety of coloring, from pink to black. This pink marker is embellished with a floral chain and a heart. Although not all types of granite are chosen for memorials, in New England, much of our granite comes from Canada and Deer Isle, Maine. This granite marker shows swirls of various colors and is embellished by a triple cross, complemented by a graceful flower. While the front is highly polished for greater legibility, the top remains in a rough-cut state. These memorials show 2 ranges of pink granite, with fancy names such as Swanton Red and Dakota Mahogany. Praying hands and blossoms adorn one side of the heart-shaped stone. The row of 6 memorials are sadly for children, our most precious offerings to Mother Earth. A cherubic angel prays on the first one, while farther back we see a teddy bear. White marble comes in various shadings. Some faintly reveal light green veining. Rubio cloud shows pink tones. White cloud is used more for statuary and building facades, such as the Jefferson and Grant monuments in Washington, D.C. Locally, Danby Marble Quarry is the source of 17 different varieties of white marble. In colonial times, much white marble was imported from Carrara, Italy, but since the 1800s, we have found our own quarries closer to home, in New York State and New England. Slate is produced by open-pit mining and less commonly used for memorials. It comes in a soft green and is usually much thinner than granite or marble or slabs. Slate markers can range from 2 to 4 inches in thickness. A form of shale, slate veins have size limitations. 4 feet by 4 inches is typical. Shales contain hidden natural breaks. Slate colors are usually black, black with a tinge of red, and pale green. Locally, slate comes from Fairhaven and Whitehall, New York. There is always a danger of too much fracturing, but slate can be used for smaller headstones. People seeking headstones may be pleasantly surprised by the wide variety of shapes currently available. These 3 granite markers show the heart, oval, and trapezoidal styles. The heart presents a rough-cut top, while the oval is smoothed. The delicate tracery of lovely flowers demonstrates the artistic skill of the dedicated engravers. Also elaborate shapes here include a cross carved from a stepped mount, a star perched on a flat base, and a heart, this time on a solid footing atop a modest foundational slab. This understated teardrop may appear simplistic, but stands firmly on a modest base. The water symbology may refer to the mourner's grief or the hope for new life from a spiritual baptism. An angel with outspread arms and tall wings invites guests to read about the beloved buried below the handsome rectangular foundational slab. Here, a kneeling angel in white lovingly cradles a heart with flowers placed tastefully on one side of the thick black base. Some markers overwhelm visitors with their height and stylized or stepped bases. This Latin cross fleuret, with the trefoil arms, proclaims the faith of the deceased and probably indicates the wealth that its owner enjoyed. This bell rose slab marker is like a Greek stele. Simple and sedate, the Celtic cross, with inner circle, is shown in low relief. These elaborate memorials get to the heart of the matter. With her wing making a comforting C, a sorrowful angel rests her head on top of a heart which is cushioned in her arms. Stone rosettes are carved near the other side. The sculpture is mounted on a thick slab of matching stone. With eyes closed, she patiently awaits the beloved soul, implying her gift of heaven's grace. The Rousseau Memorial is a graceful heart with polished face on a thick, rough-cut stone. Lovely flowers adorn the top and bottom of the carved surname, while above and below the heart, on a stone of another color, the names of the husband and wife are engraved. Matrimonial bliss is also expressed in the Double Heart Memorial. Smooth facing with carved leaves contrasts with rough-cut tops and sides, as well as on the granite base. Visitors are meant to feel the deep devotion that this couple shared in life. For those who do not care for a freestanding tomb for their cremains, a mini mausoleum may be an acceptable alternative. This modest granite structure can house 2 funerary urns. Beloved pets are not forgotten either. What dog would not delight in a supersized marble bone over his grave? Some modern memorials actually offer detailed scenes, even in color. Hunters and fishermen may rest beneath headstones which reflect their passion for outdoor activity. Blue jays sing a welcome to paradise on one, while an antlered buck keeps vigil in an eternal forest on another. This elaborate scene is very detailed. Trees and a meadow where a stag and game birds gambol, perhaps in safety. 2 scenes in color hint of pastoral peace. 2 show male deer, while one offers a very different special view. A village. Village buildings clustered around a central church with its typical New England spire will look familiar. The wide cloud space is the perfect location for the name or names of the beloved. Flowers are often found on headstones, etched on or in low relief. Flowers can adorn a cross, decorate one or both sides of the stone. Their presence can imply both the beauty and fragrance that the departed expect to enjoy in heaven. The Toussaint monument stands atop a thick base with 3-dimensional chippings, which contrasts with the rounded petals and stems of the flowers above it. Christian symbols abound in most cemeteries. The black Latin cross fleuret is in stark contrast with a white background. The cross on this stone is surrounded by dazzling rays, a clear implication that the power of light will conquer the darkness of sin. Catholic graves often show a priest or Mary or Jesus, especially touching his Sacred Heart. Other symbols in evidence may be a rosary in stone or the communion cup. An etched or engraved cross is typical in Christian cemeteries. This modern stone shows a cross adorned with a graceful rose, while an older marker shows a cross flanked by 2 simple scrolled columns with leaves. Note the patient, persistent lichen of neglect. Angels abounding. Cemetery visitors are naturally drawn to figures of angels. One family offers a three-dimensional angel with curved wings. With her eyes demurely closed, her crossed hands gently rest on a polished heart, which bears both the name and life dates of the deceased, as well as her photograph. Amazing what technology can accomplish. Contrasted with this, a modest angel is seated demurely with a low-relief cross in her lap and flowers at her feet. Perhaps we feel that angels guard our slumber as well as direct our souls to heaven. Two views of the same grieving woman. She is not an angel, but garbed in a simple flowing robe, with long unadorned hair. One hand holds her head as if to help bear the pain of loss, while the other holds a floral wreath. This tasteful memorial displays an offering of real flowers, perhaps beloved of the deceased. Floral attributes are touching, for they add color, softness, and life to an otherwise stark stone. Depictions of Mary, the mother of Jesus, are frequently found in Catholic cemeteries. One statue shows her with lowered arms and palms outstretched. She may be offering peace, not only to the departed soul, but also to sorrowing visitors. Sometimes there is just the head and shoulders of the Virgin shown, in a circular niche. If you peer intently, you may note the halo of divinity. Her hair is covered by a scarf or soft hood. Some monuments go all out to present the cross, the Christian symbol of redemption. This trefoil granite cross stands atop a matching pedestal, which leads mourners to the modest mausoleum. In an older cemetery, one cross is mounted on a matching multidimensional base, but the effects of time's passage have etched their presence on both. This lichened cross is set at a curious angle, almost falling over. One wonders if it is purposely facing east. Rutland's Jewish Cemetery is just across from the regional airport, separated from East Clarendon Cemetery by a chain-link fence. Here, the headstones are markedly different, with words often in Hebrew and English, plus the Star of David. Some markers are flanked by American flags, indicating service in our armed forces. We note the small stones on top of many monuments. These may eventually be dispersed by high winds, but mourners and guests will know, by the mute testimony of these visiting stones, that someone cared enough to leave a token of their love. Back in a Catholic cemetery, we noticed a rosary etched into a cross, as well as flowers, both potted and planted. It can be rather peaceful to stroll across the lawn, if one can do so dispassionately. Please be considerate of mourners and do not leave trash behind to mar their serenity. Some families choose to place a small statue of a priest or famous church father. Here, a cross-bearing holy man stands in a small planter. Flowers can be placed both in front of the marker and or carved into its face. So, will our souls gently glide into the serenity of a pink-tinged sunset? Will it require the tears and prayers of those who love us to help guide it over the shadows of the valley of death? Will all that is left of our spiritual existence here below be briefly reflected on the bosom of a tranquil lake? Fleeting wisps of humanity kissing farewell to the water of life? An unclaimed black granite marker of almost triangular shape points a jagged peak heavenward. My aunt, a geriatric nurse, confided to me that death is always hardest on those who are left behind, be they flowers, tears, or visiting stones. What will you leave behind when you next visit a cemetery?